Okay, so as we saw in the previous exercises, function declaration binds. Okay, so as we saw in the previous exercises, a function declaration binds a function to an identifier. However, a function declaration does not ask the code inside the function body to run. It just declares the existence of the function. The code inside a function body runs or executes only when the function is called. To call a function in your code, you type the function name followed by the parentheses. So greet world, parentheses, comma, or semicolon rather. This function call executes the function body or all of the statements between the curly braces in the function declaration. We can call the same function as many times as needed. Let's practice calling functions in our code. Instructions. Imagine that you manage an online store. When a customer places an order, you send them a thank you note. Let's create a function to complete this task. Define a function called say thanks as a function declaration. So let's just say function declaration, say thanks. Then remember your parentheses. Okay. In the function body of say thanks, add code such as that the function writes the following thank you message to the console when called thank you for your purchase. We appreciate your business. I'm just going to copy this quickly. Then I'm going to console log this quickly. All right. Run this, and then at the end I'm going to call say thanks to view the thank you message in the console. So to call it, all you do is say thanks, reiterate, say thanks, and then calling it run. As you can see, I've called it. Thank you for your purchase. We appreciate your business. Okay, so number 3. Functions can be called as many times as you need them. Imagine that 3 customers placed an order and you wanted to send each of them a thank you message. Update your code to call say thanks 3 times. So you just call it 3 times. I don't think this is not the only way that you can call it 3 times. There is actually a better way, but I'll show you that later. Let's move on. Okay, so parameters and arguments. So when calling the function, once you've got your function body and your function declaration, then your function concise body, and then right after that you've got your argument. So that argument is when you call the function, that is actually the argument, and the parameters itself is right after the function declaration. So right here where the parentheses is, that's where the parameters go. So you can set parameters to your function. So this is the function itself, and then this is the function body, and then you've got say thanks here at the end. Sorry. That's the argument. Right there, yeah. This is where the argument goes. Right. I just wanted to show you that so that you can understand what they're talking about. But I'm sure this explanation is going to explain everything. Okay, so parameters and arguments. So far, the functions we've created execute a task without an input. However, some function can take inputs and use the inputs to perform a task. When declaring a function, we can specify its parameters. Parameters allow functions to accept inputs and perform a task using the inputs. We use parameters as placeholders for information that will be passed to the function when it's called. Let's observe how to specify parameters in a function declaration. In the diagram above, calculate area computes the area of a rectangle based on two inputs, width and height. The parameters are specified between the parentheses as width and height, and inside the function body they act just like regular variables. Width and height act as placeholders for values that will be multiplied together. When calling a function that has parameters, we specify the values in the parentheses that follow the function name. The values that are passed to the function when it is called are called arguments. Arguments can be passed to the function as values or variables. In the function call above, I'm just showing you quickly the example. The number 10 is passed as the width, and the number 6 is passed as height, or 6 is passed as height. Notice that the order in which arguments are passed and assigned follows the order that the parameters are declared. So the variables rect width and rect height are initialized with the values for the height and width of a rectangle before being used in the function call. By using parameters, calculate area can be reused to compute the area of any rectangle. Functions are a powerful tool in the computer programming, so let's practice creating and calling functions with parameters. So the instructions, number 1, the say thanks function works well, but let's add the customer's name in the message. Add a parameter called name to the function declaration for say thanks. So in the function declaration say thanks, we're going to add a parameter called name. And according to me, when you only have one parameter, you don't actually need parentheses. Let's see what they say. Okay, so with name as a parameter, it can be used as a variable in the function body. Say thanks. Using name and string concatenation, change the thank you message into the following. Right. When we do the shorter format of a function, so the abbreviated version of a function, this you won't need to call a function the function itself. This will go away. And then, for instance, if you've got a parameter like name, there will be an equal sign before the parameter name, and then there won't be any parentheses, because when there's a single parameter, there's no parentheses. And then right after that, you'll get arrow sign, and then you'll get the concise body. All right, but that's for the next lesson. I'm just giving you a heads up that this is actually not the correct way. But in the next lesson, I'll show you what is the correct way, in fact. Right, so with name as parameter, it can be used as a variable in the function body say thanks. Right, so using name and string concatenation, change the thank you message. Right, so this is the thank you message. I'm just going to change this. I'm going to rather use template literals if it allows me to do so. So like, thank you for your purchase. So we're going to call the name itself. I'm just going to run it. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works as well. Right. It's just sometimes that on Code Academy, when you use template literals, backticks, and so on, instead of using maybe concatenation, sometimes yeah, the program breaks, and then yeah, it grades your answer as wrong, or it marks your answer as wrong. Okay, so that's why I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. So number 3, a customer named Cole just purchased something from your online store. Cole say thanks and pass Cole as an argument to send Cole a personalized message. Okay, so now we're calling the function say thanks. Oops. And we're just going to pass in a string Cole. Right, there you go. Thank you for your purchase, Cole. We appreciate your business. Okay, so that's the output. This is actually the correct way, but okay, it still works. It's not necessary. Okay, so let's move forward.